like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, chapter 55 predictions. This chapter right here is probably one of the first chapters that I don't really know a lot about, just because of the sheer fact that we're now finishing a very huge arc. Now it's not necessarily confirmed that we're actually finishing the arc. This is just my speculation, but more than likely this is going to be the end of the Isshiki Otsutsuki arc. The first thing that we do have to talk about has to be Naruto's health. This has been a very huge sticking point throughout almost like the last 4 or 5 chapters. Is Naruto actually going to be alive because of the baryon mode? And we didn't really get any questions answered in the last chapter, and I didn't really want to see that. I didn't really want to see it spill over to chapter 55. My personal opinion, I think that Naruto is not going to be dead. I talked about this for a very long time, but in the future Kawaki does tell Boruto that he's going to send Boruto where he himself sent the 7th Hokage. Because of that, that makes me think that Kawaki personally sent Naruto somewhere. For that statement to actually come true, Naruto has to survive this right here. Now I've been hearing a lot of predictions and a lot of theories talking about how Kurama himself could potentially die in the upcoming episodes, but Naruto himself will still be alive. Now of course the immediate rebuttal to that would be once Kurama does die, Naruto eventually will follow suit and Naruto will die as well. One of the things that I did kind of find interesting about this is the fact that, you know, we talk about Boruto possibly becoming a Jinchuriki. I want to know, for example, hypothetically, if Kurama does actually die, would Naruto survive if he'd have another tailed beast sealed inside of him? Jinchurikis, in my opinion, possibly usually die just because of the sheer fact that there is a huge portion of chakra that's just stripped right from them. But if there's a new huge chakra source, would that Jinchuriki still be alive? We've seen this kind of happen before when Naruto first had his tailed beast extracted from him, then they sealed another half of the 9 tails into Naruto. But of course that right there might have been a different situation, man, because it was still the 9 tails. Would Naruto potentially be alive if they seal like a 4 tails or like a 7 tails into Naruto? That right there is super interesting. We understand that the tailed beasts, they're pretty much wandering around. If Naruto's life is on the line, the person who actually did save them and free all of the tailed beasts except for 2, of course, by their own free will, they definitely want to help out Naruto and potentially even save Naruto. Now the next thing about chapter 55 has to be Boruto's Karma Seal. Boruto's Karma Seal is going to be very huge for pretty much the whole series as of right now. Now firstly, I definitely think that Boruto is going to have to use the Karma Seal in the next chapter just because of the sheer fact that they're in another dimension, and he's probably going to have to use a time-space ninjutsu to actually get them out of that dimension. Now Boruto using a time-space ninjutsu isn't necessarily the best. Boruto doesn't know all the ins and outs of the Karma Seal, and the first time that he did use the time-space ninjutsu was kind of random. But I'm really questioning, are they going to even be open to Boruto using the Karma Seal? Are they going to force Sasuke to try to heal his rinnegan and then he use it? But because Sasuke's rinnegan right now seems to be completely out of commission, they might actually have to force Boruto to utilize the Karma Seal again. It's going to be very interesting to see Boruto's reaction once he does find out that he's going to actually have to use the Karma Seal again. Me personally, I don't necessarily think that Boruto's use of the Karma Seal actually speeds up the progression of the Karma Seal, just because of the sheer fact that Kawaki has been using the Karma Seal for a lot longer than Boruto, and Boruto's Karma Seal itself has progressed a lot more. Now of course that doesn't necessarily confirm or deny anything, just because of the sheer fact that Boruto using the Karma Seal, or even without using the Karma Seal, his Karma Seal will most likely progress even faster. But I personally just think that it doesn't necessarily affect the progression of the Karma Seal as of right now. Now I really hope that Boruto kind of explains the horn thing, because if you guys do recall, when Boruto was in the Borushiki state and he was kind of half being taken over by Momoshiki, he was kind of half taken back over from Momoshiki, Boruto kind of broke off Momoshiki's horn. Now when Boruto did that, me personally, I didn't necessarily think it was going to be a very big thing, but the way Momoshiki actually reacted to it made me think, you know, this could possibly be the start of Boruto ending the possibility of Momoshiki actually taking back over Boruto's body. Now I really don't know how this would relate or how Boruto would even know that it relates, but I really hope that we do get some sort of information about possibly how this right here affects the overall transformation. Maybe Momoshiki comes back in and talks to Boruto through his subconsciousness and tells him exactly what he did do. I don't know. I really just hope we get some sort of clarification about that specific point. Now the next thing has to be Sasuke's rinnegan. Is Sasuke's rinnegan actually gone? In my opinion, I think that Sasuke can definitely get his rinnegan back very quickly. In regards to Naruto and Sasuke, I feel like there is definitely a higher probability of Sasuke returning back to 100% strength before Naruto returns back to 100% strength. For example, even if Naruto does survive, I think that Naruto could potentially have some sort of chakra disease that a lot of people have been talking about, or even potentially Kurama not necessarily being with Naruto for a very extended period of time. So I definitely have a lot of faith in Sasuke actually regaining his rinnegan and becoming 100%. I really do hope that Sasuke actually does talk about the rinnegan. One of the things that is definitely a very high possibility is that we go through the whole chapter and we hear nothing, absolutely nothing about Sasuke's rinnegan. I really hope that isn't the case, just because of the sheer sheer fact that a lot of people, a lot of fans out there, not only the Sasuke diehard fans, but a lot of the fans period want to see Sasuke with the rinnegan. We want to see Sasuke and Naruto remain the two powerful characters in the Boruto series as of right now. In the future, Boruto and Kawaki in the new generation might be able to take over, but as of right now, Boruto and Kawaki and everybody else are still like literally 13 years old. Sasuke and Naruto, in my opinion, should actually stay on top. So of course I want them to regain all of their health and actually be good. The next interesting thing that we should actually look forward to has to be Kawaki's karma seal. Now of course I don't necessarily think that he's going to be getting it in the next chapter of the Boruto manga, but I think that they should actually give some sort of hints as to why he has the karma seal in the future. Of course I talked about for multiple times that Momoshiki could have possibly given Kawaki the karma seal, but of course there's still an outside possibility that another Otsutsuki member actually did give Kawaki a karma seal, and there's still even that possibility that Isshiki Otsutsuki is not truly dead. One of the theories that I have been hearing around is the fact that Isshiki Otsutsuki potentially went to Code or even potentially went to another shinobi as a backup plan before engaging with Naruto and Sasuke in the Hidden Leaf Village and gave them the karma seal. So because of that, somebody in the Hidden Leaf Village or somebody in the ninja world as of right now in this dimension actually does have the karma seal from Isshiki Otsutsuki. So eventually Isshiki Otsutsuki will reborn, then implant Kawaki with the karma seal. And I'm not gonna lie, 100% I would not be surprised if that's the case at all, just because of the sheer fact that Isshiki Otsutsuki is this type of character that I believe is strong enough and popular enough to actually garner a lot of viewership in the future if he does actually pop up back in the future. So of course for Boruto writers, it wouldn't necessarily be a very bad idea to have Isshiki Otsutsuki pop back up and still be the main villain later on, potentially Boruto Shippuden, and then have, I don't know, maybe Boruto actually beat Isshiki Otsutsuki full strength in the future. That right there would be absolutely insane. Now, the last thing that I do want to talk about has to be the response from the Hidden Leaf Village and how they actually do react to the information that Boruto himself was actually taken over by Momoshiki. The first question that we do have to ask is, will they even tell people about Momoshiki taking over Boruto? We understand that having classified information in the shinobi world isn't necessarily anything out of the ordinary. I think it would be definitely smart to keep this information very classified in terms of the actual general public. But how classified, quote unquote, will it actually be? Will they tell Shikamar? Will they tell the previous Kage? Will they tell the elders? I personally believe for Boruto's best interest, they do not tell the other people in the village. But of course, the right thing to do would obviously be to actually tell them about this threat. Now, Sasuke and the rest do actually open this up to interpretation. I personally believe that Shikamar is probably going to be one of the main characters or one of the main people that completely opposes Boruto still being in the Hidden Leaf Village and possibly even still being alive. We understand that Shikamar is definitely a very good friend to Naruto, but what we also understand is that Shikamar's interest is 100% for the Hidden Leaf Village, and I'm pretty sure Shikamar himself would actually go as far as to suggest the death of Boruto to actually save the Hidden Leaf Village for the good of the village. This storyline right here is probably going to be sneaky good, but I do want to know what you guys think about this chapter in the comment section below. And I do want to point out, spoilers about this chapter is most likely going to be releasing, if not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And needless to say, we are in manga season. But let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.